Hello there, very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News, where we get you ready for the day ahead, getting you all the updates from India and across the world. Let's start with the headlines. Prime Ministers of India and Israel take bilateral relations to a new high of warmth and emotional connect. Visiting Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel believes in India. Prime Minister Modi says both countries can hugely gain from each other. Describing the Indian Prime Minister as a revolutionary leader who is catapulting India into the future, Netanyahu says Modi has revolutionized the relationship between the two countries as both sides sign 9 agreements. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch the work of Rajasthan's first oil refinery in Barmer. The 43,000 crore rupee project is expected to generate 10,000 direct and 40,000 indirect jobs. Supreme Court announces 5-judge Constitution bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra to hear key cases including those on Aadhaar. Hearings to commence from tomorrow. And India aims for wickets against South Africa at the Centurion on the 4th day of the second test today. South Africa leading by 118 runs with 8 wickets in hand in second innings. Top story today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the commencement of work of an oil refinery at the Pachpadra in Rajasthan's Barmer district today. Rajasthan has significant reserves of oil and gas, and this refinery will be the state's first. The project was stuck in limbo since 2013. Here's a detailed report on it.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend a function to mark the start of the work on an oil refinery at Pachpadra in Rajasthan's Barmer district today. The project is estimated to cost over 43,000 crore rupees. Its output will conform to advanced BS6 norms.
This project was held for a long time now. I think that this shows the will of the government. They really want to make it happen, because this is a 40,000 crore project which is basically focusing on BS6 fuel. Now, earlier on it was BS3 fuels, but with the government vision to have the BS6 fuels from 2019, this is a very good step in this direction.
The refinery cum petrochemical complex will be ready by 2021. With a 9 million ton per annum capacity, it will make Rajasthan the biggest refinery after the HPCL refinery in Mumbai that has a capacity of 7.5 million tons per annum, and Visakhapatnam that has a 8.3 million ton capacity. The project will create 40,000 indirect employment opportunities during peak construction period and 10,000 direct jobs. The project was approved in 2013 and its foundation stone was laid just prior to the imposition of the Model Code of Conduct in the state. But since neither environmental clearance was taken nor any lease deed obtained for the 4,800 acres, the Rajasthan government and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited inked a fresh agreement in 2017 for the refinery.
The Hindustan Petroleum Corporation has 74%, while the state government has 26% stake in this project. This refinery will not only infrastructure and economic development, but will also promote several ancillary units in the region. With cameraperson Suresh, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India and Israel are ready to take their relationship to greater heights through mutual opportunities. He said this while addressing the India-Israel Business Summit along with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The two leaders also held delegation-level talks on Monday, on the second day of Netanyahu's first visit to India. In fact, the bonhomie between the two leaders visible through the day as they inked 9 pacts to boost cooperation in key areas, including cybersecurity and energy.
At the end of their delegation-level talks, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and visiting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released a joint statement.
First, we will strengthen the existing pillars of cooperation in areas that touch the lives of our people. These are agriculture, science and technology, and security.
Israel is a fountainhead of innovation It's a global force of technology. India abounds with creativity, with ingenuity, with scientists, with mathematicians. And I think that when we join our respective talents together, we can achieve tremendous things for our people. We can actually achieve, you say we want more. Prime Minister Modi and I are the same. We want more for our people. We want it now. We want it yesterday.
Earlier, both sides held discussions ranging from cooperation on terrorism to agriculture and innovation. They signed 9 agreements in various fields. The agreements were on cybersecurity cooperation, petroleum and oil sector cooperation, protocol amendment, airport transfer agreement, film co-production, Council of Research on Homeopathy and Ayush, space science technology, letters of intent for investments in both countries, letters of intent in metal technology and solar technology.
We have imparted our shared impatience to the implementation of our earlier decisions. The results are already visible on the ground. Our discussions today were marked by convergence to accelerate our engagement and to scale up our partnership.
Netanyahu also praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling him a revolutionary leader with an unparalleled zeal to help the Indians. Modi responded by calling the relationship with Israel the relationship of the century.
You are a revolutionary leader, in the best sense of the word revolution. You are revolutionizing India. You're catapulting this magnificent state into the future, and you have revolutionized the relationship between Israel and India.
Your visit, Prime Minister, is a long-anticipated moment in the journey of friendship between India and Israel. Your visit is also a fitting climax to the commemoration of 25th year of diplomatic relations between India and Israel.
In their first summit meeting this year, both leaders also reviewed the progress of relations between the two countries. Condemning the menace of terrorism in the strongest possible words, Netanyahu said Israel will always stand by India on the issue.
Indians and Israelis know too well the pain of terrorist attacks. We remember the horrific savagery in Mumbai. We grit our teeth. We fight back. We never give in.
Later, both Prime Ministers also took part in the India-Israel CEO Forum meet, where a report was presented on the prospects of further cooperation among industries.
Both the Prime Ministers were quite at ease, and spark in their eyes were telling the story that there is no glitch in the relationship. The relationship of the future is fructifying.
In the morning, the Israeli Prime Minister was given a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan before his meeting with President Ramnath Kovind. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And India and Israel launched the first industrial research and development fund to train Indian youth for path-breaking technological solutions. The decision to create the $40 million fund was taken during Modi's visit to Israel last year for an interactive and joint working program that will involve youth from both countries in data analysis and cybersecurity. The decision was announced by both Prime Ministers during the business summit in Delhi on Monday evening. Ahead of the business summit, both Prime Ministers also reviewed business climate initiatives taken after decisions taken during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Israel in July 2017.
Economic reform is key because you cannot move if you're stuck. If you're mired in very high taxes and very high bureaucracy, it's very difficult to move because people want to be able to see the fruit of their labors. And for that, you have to have a streamlined economy. I just heard from Prime Minister Modi an impressive statistic that India moved in the 4 years that you have been stewarding its effort, 42 places in the business-friendly index. I have to say we have not moved as much. Now, let me tell you why I think Prime Minister Modi is hitting the nail right on the head. Because bureaucracy is a tremendous opportunity for growth. You don't believe me? Bureaucracy is a tremendous opportunity for growth because when you remove it, it grows. So we both have a treasure. We have abundant bureaucracy. And if we keep hacking away at it, you're going to see more and more and more growth. Now the second thing, technology. There is not going to be any more this distinction between high-tech and low-tech, because over time, just about everything will be technologized, everything. We see it in specific areas. We see it in, obviously in communications. We see it in water. We see it in agriculture. We talked in the room adjacent to this briefly now about not smart cities, smart fields, precision agriculture.
It was a very special visit. I experienced at close quarters the remarkable spirit of innovation, enterprise, and perseverance that drives Israel. There is new energy and purpose that has invigorated our ties over the last few years. It will help take over cooperation to greater heights. We stand on the cusp of a bright new chapter in India-Israel relations, driven by our people and the mutual opportunities for betterment of their lives. The role of business and industry is crucial in the transformation of our ties. It is your combined efforts that will add real value to our interaction and produce concrete success. Given the scale of the Indian economy and the relevance of cutting-edge Israeli technologies for us, even sky is not the limit for what we may achieve together. Friends, I'm delighted that today we have launched the maiden call for joint R&D projects under the India-Israel Industrial R&D and Technological Innovation Fund, I4F.
Well, on the third day of his visit to India, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will inaugurate the third edition of the geopolitical conference, Rajya Dialogue, in New Delhi in the evening today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will also be part of the inaugural session of the three-day event. The conference has an impressive lineup of over 150 speakers and more than 550 delegates. The theme of the dialogue this year is managing disruptive transitions, ideas, institutions and idioms. Former Afghanistan President Hamid Karzai, former Prime Minister of Canada Stephen Harper and former Prime Minister of Sweden Carl Bildt are among the prominent speakers. This annual geopolitical event is being organized by the Ministry of External Affairs and Observer Research Foundation. In the day, Benjamin Netanyahu will visit Taj Mahal and he'll also be visiting Gujarat and Mumbai before returning to Israel. In other news, India's exports grew to $27.03 billion in December 2017 from $26.19 billion in November 2017's official data, which showed up on Monday. According to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, exports during last month exhibited a growth of 12.36% on a year-on-year basis on account of strong performance by sectors like engineering goods and petroleum products. Imports surged significantly to $41.91 billion, up 21.12% on increased inbound shipments of crude oil and gold. As per the data released by the Commerce Ministry, the trade deficit or difference between imports and exports was 14.88 billion, up about 41% year-on-year. Exports of engineering goods as well as petroleum products showed an increase of over 25% in December. However, shipments of ready-made garments declined by 8% to $1.33 billion last month. A quick break here. Up next, we'll get you more national news and also the international updates.
A path-breaking initiative on Indian television. A show you must watch. The Election Commission of India and Rajya Sabha TV present National Elections Quiz. Coming soon.
Welcome back. The Supreme Court has announced the composition of a 5-judge constitution bench headed by the CJI to hear major cases. The bench comprises Justices A.K. Sikri, A.M. Khanwilkar, D.Y. Chandrachud and Ashok Bhushan besides the Chief Justice. The newly constituted bench will start hearing on a range of crucial matters from tomorrow. These include cases challenging the constitutional validity of the Aadhaar Act and the 2013 Apex Court judgment recriminalizing gay sex between consenting adults. This bench will also hear the contentious issue of the ban on the entry of women between 10 and 50 years of age in Kerala's Sabrimala temple and resume hearing a legal query on whether a Parsi woman would lose her religious identity if she marries a man from a different religion. Another contentious matter relates to the challenge of the validity of a penal law on adultery, which only punishes a married man for having an extramarital sexual relationship with a woman married to someone else. The other issues to be dealt with by the Constitution Bench includes the pleas, which have raised a question as to when will a lawmaker facing criminal trial stand disqualification. And the Bar Council of India on Monday confirmed that the tussle between the 4 judges of the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice is over. The statement came after the BCI members met 15 Supreme Court judges to resolve the issue. Meanwhile, the Chief Justice refused to entertain a plea by an advocate to take action against the 4 senior judges.
The Bar Council of India has said that the unprecedented crisis that hit the Supreme Court with 4 senior judges holding a press conference has now been resolved. The 4 top judges and the Chief Justice of India attended work as usual on Monday. The Bar Council has also urged everyone not to politicize the issue. On Sunday, a 7-member BCI delegation met 15 judges of the Supreme Court following the crisis in the apex judiciary.
They have resolved whatever little issues were there. We were very much hopeful that the honorable judges themselves, they will evolve some in-house mechanism. They have already done it. They sat over at tea and they have settled the issue. This mediation was a little bit required and they have resolved the issue.
Earlier in the day, Attorney General K.K. Venugopal said that all 4 judges had attended their courts and therefore everything was okay.
आज जैसा कि अटॉर्नी जनरल साहब ने भी कहा, उन्होंने अपना मसला हल कर लिया और आज आपने देखा होगा कि सारे कोर्ट बहुत स्मूथली फंक्शन कर रहे हैं. They all are discharging their duties. ये उनके घर की आपस की बात थी. हल्का फुल्का कुछ मामला था. इसमें नेबर लोगों ने चाहा कि हम नाजायज फ़ायदा उठा लें. हमारे यहाँ रोज़ किटपिट होता है तो हम भी कुछ फ़ायदा उठा लें. वो चाहे कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी हो या कुछ हमारे गिने चुने मेंबर्स ऑफ द बार हों, लेकिन इसका फ़ायदा किसी को मिला नहीं.
The 4 judges had criticized the Chief Justice over allocation of cases, alleging that the administration of the top court was not in order. Ravindra Sharon's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The centre is resolved to identify the number of children out of school. While addressing the 65th Cabinet Advisory Board of Education meeting, Union Minister for Human Resources Development Prakash Javadekar said that the centre and state governments have resolved to launch Operation Digital Board and also initiate a scheme to identify out-of-school children from September 2018. He also said that in the next 5 years, government schools in the country will be equipped with smart boards. A subcommittee on out-of-school children will submit its final report on the 31st of January. Javadekar also emphasized that education is a national agenda which empowers the individual, family, society and the nation.
Digital board के तरफ हम जाना चाहिए, and we must say that it would be our endeavor to launch Operation Digital Board. तो Operation Digital Board की एक कल्पना रखी है और इसमें केंद्र सरकार, राज्य सरकार, स्थानीय निकाय और CSR और कम्युनिटी सपोर्ट. महाराष्ट्र में डिजिटल शिक्षा के लिए केवल 6 जिले की लोगों ने 300 करोड़ रुपए दिए हैं. तो ऐसे सभी जगह अब ये उपक्रम शुरू हो रहा है. तो कम्युनिटी भी इसमें सपोर्ट करेगी, CSR से भी सपोर्ट आएगा कंपनियों से, और केंद्र, राज्य और स्थानीय निकाय तीनों मिलके ये सब मिलके करेंगे.
In more national news, the Indian Army shot dead 7 Pakistani soldiers on Monday in retaliatory action along the line of control in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir. The action was in retaliation to an Indian soldier being killed in Pakistani firing in Rajouri district on Saturday. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat warned of stronger reaction against Pakistan-supported terrorism. Meanwhile, Pakistan Foreign Office summoned India's Deputy High Commissioner to protest the killing of its soldiers.
The Indian Army marked Army Day on Monday, killing 7 and injuring 4 Pakistani soldiers, just hours after the action across the Jagolte area near the line of control in Mendhar sector of Poonch district. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat lashed out at Pakistan for repeatedly trying to sneak terrorists into India. General Rawat said Indian forces will not hesitate to step up their military offensive if Pakistan did not desist from provocative actions.
नियंत्रण रेखा पर पाकिस्तानी सेना संघर्ष विराम का उल्लंघन जारी रखते हुए आतंकवादियों की घुसपैठ में सहायता करने के प्रयास करती रहती है. हम विरोधियों को सबक सिखाने के लिए अपनी ताकत का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं. पाकिस्तान की किसी भी उकसाने वाली कार्रवाई का हम हमेशा मुंह तोड़ जवाब देते रहेंगे. अगर हमें मजबूर किया गया तब हम अपनी सैन्य कार्रवाई के दर्जे को बढ़ाकर अन्य कार्रवाई भी कर सकते हैं.
On Monday, security forces also shot dead 5 Jaish-e-Mohammed infiltrators in the Uri sector of Kashmir. The terrorists were reportedly planning a strike similar to the December 31st attack on the Central Reserve Police Force camp in Pulwama.
5 terrorists have been neutralized. The bodies of 4 terrorists have been recovered. The 5th terrorist was sitting next to the boat. So he has been neutralized in the same area, and his body we cannot recover because it is now probably under the water.
The Army Chief also assured the nation that the Army is committed to preventing all disputes and transgressions along the line of actual control in northern border along China. General Rawat also said the armed forces need to continuously come up with fresh strategies and new tactics to deal with the situation on the border. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
A rocket landed in the Indian Embassy compound in Kabul on Monday evening. All embassy staff were safe, although a portion of the building has been damaged. Confirming the news on Twitter, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj said, and I quote, "A rocket has landed in our Chancery compound in Kabul. The rocket has clipped the top of the 3-storied ITBP barracks. There are no casualties. All Indians and staff are safe," unquote. The Indian Embassy in Kabul has come under attack many times in the past. The deadliest attack by far took place in July 2008, when 2 Indian diplomats and 2 Indian security personnel were killed in a car bomb explosion. While no details have emerged about this latest rocket attack, India has blamed the Haqqani network for previous attacks. And here's a quick look at some international news updates in World Wrap. A couple has been arrested in California after police found 13 people allegedly being held captive at their home, including some chained to their beds. The 13 people, aged between 2 and 29, are believed to be siblings. Police made the discovery after a 17-year-old girl escaped the house and called them. The 2 parents, David Allen Turpin and Louise Anna Turpin, were held on charges of torture and child endangerment. Libya's Coast Guard rescued around 400 migrants stranded in several locations off the coast of Libya in the Mediterranean Sea. The commander of the Coast Guard rescue ship said that 3 rescued ships had a large number of women and children. Libya is the most common departure point for migrants trying to reach Europe from Africa by sea. More than 600,000 have crossed the central Mediterranean in the past 4 years. In Athens, about 20,000 people rallied outside Parliament to protest against yet another set of austerity measures proposed by the Greek government in exchange for fresh bailout funds. Protesters said that they were against a bill which restructures family benefits and makes it harder to call a strike. As the vote was in progress, police fired tear gas to disperse protesters who hurled stones, flares and petrol bombs at them. The U.S. National Weather Service issued a flood warning along parts of the Delaware River, saying that an ice jam could cause minor flooding. The river runs from Pennsylvania to New Jersey and is currently frozen from bank to bank. Record-shattering cold has hit parts of the eastern United States this month, with freeze warnings that went as far south as Florida. All right, into sports news. And South Africa will resume the second innings of the second test against India at 90 for 2 on the 4th day today. The hosts are leading the match by 118 runs with 8 wickets remaining. Batsmen A.B. de Villiers on 50 and Deel Elgar on 36 were at the crease when play ended on Monday. India managed 307 in their first innings, conceding a 28-run lead. South Africa is leading the 3-test series 1-0 as they won the first test in Cape Town by 72 runs. And in the first Grand Slam tournament of the year, the Australian Open, the shocking exit of American players continued as Coco Vandeweghe got knocked out of the tournament. The 10th-seeded American and last year's semi-finalist lost to world number 51, Timmy Babos, 7-6, 6-2. Coco Vandeweghe was the 3rd American player to fall after Venus Williams and Stevens. In another match, the only Indian player in the tournament, Yuki Bhamri, crashed out in the opening round after losing to Marcus Baghdatis of Cyprus, 6-7, 4-6, 3-6. The ICC Under-19 World Cup match between India and Papua New Guinea is underway in New Zealand. Papua New Guinea were 56 for 4 in 14 overs against India, with batsman Bog Arua at the crease. Earlier, India won the toss and elected to field first. In another match, Pakistan will square off against Ireland in the Group D clash. In fact, India's got the target of 65 runs. We'll keep you updated on that. That's it, of course, on the Breakfast News. Thanks for joining us.